Hi. Right. Aleichem Chanukah, everybody. Um, please subscribe to our channel and let's make a Hanukkah miracle, our own. Hanukkah, 1 day's worth, burned for 8 days. So every single individual, please think of another eight of you, eight friends or family you could sign up and recruit to our channel, get them to come, enjoy, and subscribe to our channel. So please, let's increase our membership by eight uh, within the next 24 hours. Give it a shot. Also, before we begin, I want to make an announcement, and I'll post it also here on this on the chat. The Tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will make another presentation, and the title is I'm going to share stories from my own life, stories of faith and divine providence, because Hanukkah was a war that we, fought for our faith. So I'm going to tell you some stories that can strengthen our faith, and this is particularly suitable for those of you who refrain from Torah learning on Nittelnacht, which is tonight. For those of you who refrain from Torah learning, if that is your custom, you could still listen to that presentation because even if you're not going to learn Torah, it doesn't have to be a total spiritual wasteland. You can also hear inspiring stories, even so. It's not the same as learning Torah from the Bible or the Talmud. But I would venture to say that those who don't learn Torah would permit hearing inspiring stories. Um, okay, the I wanted to discuss something which perhaps we should have discussed earlier. First, we're going to discuss it very briefly from a halachic perspective, as far as the law, and then we'll get into the depth of it. Right, interesting halacha about Hanukkah candles. I'm sure everyone's getting their Hanukkah candles ready as we speak. Some people who light at sunset are lighting already. So you'll just have to listen to me if you can't watch me. You have to watch what you're doing. Um, the interesting halacha about Hanukkah candles is that you need a house. Now, according to many Rishonim, many authorities maintain that the mitzvah is not just on the family, like we explained yesterday in our piece entitled Hanukkah Wars 2019, Family Values, that everyone agrees to, that one menorah per family is good enough for the minimal requirement to fulfill your obligation, right? But there's plenty of stories that also said Ner Ishbed, man in his house doesn't just mean his family, but it literally means his house. That, according to many authorities, if a person is homeless, God forbid, or a family is homeless, they are not obligated to light. And according to those authorities, that is the whole point of another interesting halacha that we have, that a person is not, if a person will be barred from fulfilling his obligation to light the Hanukkah candles on any given night, he could at least make a bracha, a blessing that, thank you God for the miracles, which is the second bracha we make when we light. He could say it upon seeing someone else's Hanukkah candles. That's his consolation prize. So these Rishonim say, well, who needs such a consolation prize? Homeless people that, God forbid, don't have homes, because they view Hanukkah candles like mezuzah. It's a mitzvah not just on the family, but it's a mitzvah on the house, right? The house. Um, and even according to the authorities that say a homeless family would be obligated to light Hanukkah candles, even according to such authorities, they do admit nonetheless that if you do have a house, that's where you have to light. You must light at a house, right? So if you're obligated, if you're homeless, God forbid, which means no roof over your head. But if you do own a house, you have to light in your house and not in the public domain, right? So the house is very central to the idea of Hanukkah candles whether it's the part of the core obligation. The obligation is only if you have a house, or even if not. But if you do have a house, then you must light at your house. Well, let's quickly discuss the legal ramifications of this. Torah law. That you have to realize that if you go out to dinner somewhere, it is not simple that you could fulfill lighting candles at the place where you're dining. You go to a restaurant, if the restaurant owner will allow you to set up a menorah and light candles, in the corner of the restaurant, it is not. If you're not going to be spending the night there, you're just catching a quick bite to eat. It certainly is not going to override the obligation of lighting in your own house if you will be spending the night in your own house, right? Um, now, if you'll be spending a night elsewhere, so which best if you would eat there in addition to sleeping there, that's your house for that night. So you may light there, but you're not a member of that family. You're just a guest. Whether you're a paid guest, like you're a boarder, right, or you're in a hotel, or whether you're staying there for free. So you must light your own candle. You cannot fulfill your obligation with the candles of the head of the household, or if it's a motel, the motel owner's candles. You have to light your own or buy in with his candles. Give him at least a pruta, which is about at least 2 cents. Literally, your 2 cents worth, to be part owner in the candles because you're not automatically exempt. Because even if that's your house, that is not your family. Send a distinction. But that's only if you'll be spending the night there. It is very dicey. It is a very question that you really must ask your rabbi and be aware of. That if you'll be spending a night somewhere else or eating somewhere else, you know. Now, especially if you're going to go back and sleep in your own house that night after dinner. So, what the best thing to do would be to light as early as you can. Uh, you know, if you need to. Right? The earliest you can light is 3:30. Plaga Mincha was 3:35 in Brockton where I live. That's Urj Melet. But of course, if you light that early, you have to light tall candles, a lot of oil that will burn till a half an hour after dusk, till half an hour after the stars come out. So, case in point, just to, let's say doing Farakwe, you want to know what's the earliest time you can light. You're going somewhere for dinner. You won't be back till late. But you will be sleeping in your own house that night. So that place you're going is not your house for the evening. But by the time you get back, it'll be so late. No normal people are expected to be awake at that hour. So it's Tichler Regelman Shuk. And so now there are those that hold if people are up because you just came back from a trip, that's good enough. That's a possibility, but it's best not to rely on that because the Hanukkah candles are supposed to be for at the time when people are able to see it. See if you light indoors, at a time when normal people are awake. There are those that say, even in this day and age, you shouldn't be. It's if you waited till after midnight, you missed the mitzvah. Now you can rely on those that say, well, if you and someone else are up at that time, okay, it's good enough. But it's really very sketchy because even for us that light indoors, for those who light indoors, it is with the assumption that the Hanukkah candles are on display for the dwellers of the house. But if everyone's asleep, be it in this no one's on the street, be it that no one's in the house, it's a problem, right? It's a problem. We're not. So I'm just saying, if in the event you're going out for dinner, you're going to get back late. You should light before you go out to dinner. The earliest you can light is Plaga Mincha, which is roughly 10 hours into the day, 10 hours of the into the day of the sunlight. Roughly. It's I can tell you, it goes not by regular clock hours. It's you divide the daylight hours into 12. Right? So that's why it's complicated. You could go to zmanim.com or myzmanim, and there are places to look it up. So let's just give an example. Today in Farakwe, Pagaminka was 3:35. Right, so you needed to burn till 6:15. Right, so you need a 3-hour candle to, be sure you fulfilled the obligation according to everybody. You would want it to burn preferably a half an hour after dusk, according to Rabbeinu Tam. So according to Rabbeinu Tam, dusk, 3 stars come out at 5:45. So half an hour after that is 6:15. Because you'd have to have a candle that burns just short of 3 hours, which most regular full-size Shabbos candles do. So just bear this in mind. That would be the best thing to do if you're going to first come back very late, right? And the alternative is to light candles at a time when normal people are asleep, not just people off the street, but even indoors, normal people are asleep. It gets problematic, right? So that would be better. If you're spending the night elsewhere, that's your house for night, so you may light over there. Okay. If you're only eating dinner there, it's very dicey. When you're eating dinner there and you're sleeping somewhere else, the place that you sleep is more your home than the place that you eat. If you're only eating there, but it'd be better if the place where you're sleeping, you'd have something to eat there also to show that you're. But in either case, when you're a guest, even if that's your home for the night, that's not your family. Family means that you are part of the household and the head of the household supports you. You're in his living expense budget as a member, as a dependent. So that only that way would be called to join a family. So you're not a member of a family, so you still have to light your own candles or chip in with his lighting of the candles. All right, pretty complicated. So bear this in mind. And if you're going on a trip, ask your local Orthodox rabbi what you should do. So be aware of the issue because you have to light in your house, right? According to everybody, if you have a house, you have to light in your house. Okay. So now, why is that? It's house related. Whether the obligation is only on people who own a house, or even if it's on the homeless, but any guy who has a house that has to light, and why that is. Now, this undoubtedly has to do with the fact that we know the Greeks defiled the house of Hashem, the Beis Hamikdash, the temple, the house of Hashem. And so it's they broke in there, they defiled all the oils there, they defiled the oils of the menorah, which is supposed to be the light that we light there in Hashem's house. So it's got to be something related to that. But there is a deeper connection that I would like to bring out, and we're going to bring it back home to our day and age, right? There's the house defines the difference between in and out. If you live, because even if you have a wall, and you should have walls, we should have walls. Walls are definitely a very important part of the house, right? But if you have a wall just that separate two backyards, right? Both sides of the wall are outside, are the great outdoors. So you can't say one side of the wall is in and the other one's called out. Because it's still the great outdoors, both, it's a backyard between two different outside spaces. So, inside, the wall is just one component that needs to be added to a roof. The house is called inside. It's not just a separation of two different domains, but it also makes a whole different type of categorical difference, right? A qualitative difference. There's inside versus outside. Not just my property and your property that you can have in the great outdoors. I own this field, you own that field. We'll put a fence, right? I will put up a border wall, as we should, because everyone's, sovereignty should be protected. The Greeks invaded our sovereignty. They were unwelcome conquerors. Illegal entry is bad. Build the wall, right? But nonetheless, there's a higher level of being inside opposed to outside. In yesterday's presentation, we made mention that the final temple, may be rebuilt. Which we rebuilt. The third temple should be built speedily in our days. It will be named after Yaakov, our patriarch Yaakov Avinu, Jacob, because he was the first one to refer to the Temple Mount as a house. Even though at the time that he was there was no structure, but it ought to be a house. Right? Special inner space. So yesterday we put the emphasis that a family lives in a house. That's their special space. And a man's wife is his house. That's their, but again, that's the special space. That concealed inner space is the place of intimacy. Especially between man and wife. Yes, man and wife. You know, um, that's the. But it goes deeper than that. In the cosmos, there's inner space and outer space, right? In reality itself, there's inner space and outer space. The outer space is, for all to view. So even if there's jurisdiction, like New York, New Jersey. There's a border, but the fact that everything's out on the outside, everything is visible. So if there's ownership, different ownerships in different jurisdictions, but it's all the same stuff, right? It's the outdoors and it's all plainly visible. People from New Jersey could see into New York, and people from New York could see into New Jersey. It's outside. It's as it were, revealed to the public. Right? There's the things that are inner space. Those are things that are special, right? Private, and also there's another thing that falls into that same category. I'm going to show how they're interrelated, right? And there's like truths that are just simply invisible, right? Things that are, not saying that could be demonstrated physically, but people call it, well, that's a value, that's a virtue, that's what's morally correct. You can't see that not even in a microscope and not even in a telescope. Issues of the right versus the wrong, right? The truth versus the falsehood. When a liar can make a convincing case, and the truth teller can make a convincing case, right? And each one could make a demonstration. But one's telling the truth, one's lying. They could both be using footage, even, right? But it's like this one ascribes to the footage. Well, first of all, it could be fake footage, right? That's all been staged, or even real footage. Each one could ascribe to it a different meaning, right? So real meaning, virtue, morality, right? It's true, but it's not visible. So that's called inner space, and that's where it's there together with intimacy. It's real, just like intimacy. You should be displaying intimacy with your spouse out in the public. That's like to live like an animal. The special love, right? And these things, when you think about it, they're all from the same realm, the realm of the mind and heart, right? Ideas, but lofty ideas, not ideas as in readings and measurements of the visible world. That yeah, you carry those measurements in your head, right? A mental image of what things look like, how science has measured it. That's data in the brain, but that's not a pure idea. A pure idea is something invisible, and it's even more true than physical reality. Physical reality is here today and gone tomorrow, and living creatures die, and even mountains eventually erode. Right? There's like concepts, timeless truths from the realm of ideas, and love and intimacy is from that same realm. Love is to really care for a person with your mind and heart. And just the physical intimacy. If you're not an animal, the physical intimacy should be an expression of that genuine love and commitment that's in the mind and heart. So the place of the intimacy be in the realm of where that the love that it is displaying and revealing comes from, private, inner space, right? The world of ideas, right? And that's called the holy world, the holy space. The philosophers called it the world of ideas, right? We call it in Kabbalah Atzilus, Right? It's the world of just pure divine names, pure divine concepts, but had an embassy on earth, the place that Hashem will choose, l'shakich Rosham, to have His name dwell there. Right? The base Midrash is that place. It's inner space. It's the dimension of holiness, the world of pure concepts. Right? Concepts that are beyond science. Science can only see the external. Science is the outside, right? You take measurements, right? Measurements. So whether you took a ruler or whether you take all types of sophisticated equipment, you're just observing, and even when you're observing, you're not seeing its essence. You're just seeing what readings, the effect it has on your eyes, the effect it has on your ears, the effect it has on your instruments. It's all external. Like, what's the meaning of the thing? What is the concept? What is the thing in of itself? So in Judaism, we say that's its name. Its biblical name is, a clue to the divine lights that create the thing, and in there you will find its real purpose. Why did God create it, and what function does it play in destiny? But that is invisible to us. The Torah reveals it to us by giving its name, right? By revealing its biblical name. And we're going to have more on this later. We had this actually in our earlier podcast about the Judaism is the real scientific language. It reveals this inner essence, right? It reveals the name, but the name, which is reflective of the essence is not something that's visible. Yes, we only see the effect that it has on our senses or the effect it has on our instruments. We don't know what is it in essence, which it has to do with for what purpose God created it. Right? What is its function in destiny? Right? Right? And that's where religion, Torah, where Torah, it just performs a different function than science. Science is, how to measure the world around us, right? And it's very beautiful, right? But beauty is only skin deep, right? The inner space of morality, virtue, which only God, who created reality, is the moral authority to tell us what's right and wrong. Things that can't be seen in a microscope telescope, morality, virtue, right? Meaning. That's what the Torah gives. And that's why our sages have referred to the sciences, the secular sciences, that when used correctly are very useful. They go chochmos chitzonios, external wisdoms. Because inner space, which is the world of the world of ideas, ideas that are invisible to the eyes, which include, virtue, meaning, love, right? That's all inner space. And that's where the Torah is from. And that's why the Grand Rabbinical Court, that was the final arbiter on how to interpret the Torah, sat there on the Temple Mount. Shetasim Sanhedrin et Torah Mitzvah. We command to put the Grand Rabbinical Court by where the altar is. That's the place of inner space. That's why the Grand Rabbinical Court sits there. Mitzion Teitzer. Right? It's all from the same realm, the realm of God's divine name. As the word, it's an embassy of the Olam HaTzilus, which is the world of ideas, the world of divine names, the world of divine concepts, which are reflected in the biblical name that the Torah ascribes to things. This is true. God said, "Let there be light." And it was like He first created the name, or the Hebrew word, for light, and light came from that. It means that if the name precedes the existence of the object that carries that name, that means the name is therefore, is its essence, and the physical manifestation branched out from that essence. That is the significance of biblical names. And Hashem says the place of the name is the Beis HaMikdash. The Greeks were insanely jealous of that. Insanely jealous that, so they broke in. They said that our culture and science that we developed, which at best is beautiful, but it's not meaningful, and it cannot take the place of the Torah in telling us the right versus the wrong. It cannot take the place of the Torah telling us how to connect with Hashem. You have to be on the inside for that, right? And with the Torah, you're on the inside. And the Beis HaMikdash was a representation of that. space within the, that was the inner space, the realm of the divine name. So the Torah, Torah is from that realm. Right? The Torah connects us to that realm. Right? So they broke in there. They want to say our science and our culture could reach there. Everything you attribute to Torah, our secular culture is a perfectly good substitute for that. Right? That was the terrible statement that they were making. Right? And with that, they breached the walls, right? Broke in, and they defiled the oils. The oils represent wisdom. So the Gemara says that in Tekoa, where they used to produce avo, they were very, very wise. Avo is very good, for the healthy brain function. Yeah, but oil represents wisdom. Oil rises to the top like wisdom. Is above, things of lesser importance. Right? And most of all, with the oil, you make light. The light of wisdom, enlightenment. They broke in there and they defiled our oils to try to say our stuff is a perfectly good replacement for your stuff, right? If and that's what's going on today. This, the Chanukah Wars 2019. We're up against the leftist, secular, atheistic secular. Would they say that they'll decide what's morally right? They'll decide, right? Religion is out there. They'll decide what's morally right. They'll decide what's true, right? Whether it's I don't want to get into all the terrible things that they say, but that's the struggle. If they would just keep it to themselves and leave us alone and leave our religious liberties alone, that's fine. They say no, our crazy liberal professors and liberal elitists will decide for you what's right and what's wrong. That's the realm of the Torah. It's the realm of religion. Decide God has to tell us what's right, what's wrong. That's something you see in a microscope or in a telescope. God should tell us what values are. God should tell us. God who created the world will tell us what's called to live a fulfilling life. That's called the real actualization of human potential, which is to attain contact with the divine. That is the real actualization of human potential. That we could connect to that inner space. Right? They wanted to bring their outside in. Right. So when we drove them out, right, and we rebuilt those breaches that they made in the temple walls and the walls surrounding the temple. They made 13 breaches. We rebuilt, we reinstated. So now let's get it straight. Inside versus outside. We don't deny the value of secular culture when it is valuable. When it's valuable, we're not talking about woke. That's garbage. That is sick. We're talking about the hard sciences, mathematics, architecture, of course, hard science include, biology, chemistry, physics, astronomy, the legit stuff that really is of, useful, you know, shows the greatness of the world that the eye can see, shows the wisdom that's encoded in the visible world, right? And that we call beauty, but beauty is on the outside. Beauty is no replacement for values and morals and divinity, connection with the divine, the inner space. So that's it. Hanukkah is all about getting it clear, differentiating between the inner space and the outer space. Right? That's why the mitzvah is house oriented. Right? Be in your inner space, because Hanukkah is that we took our house back. The Greeks broke into the house, we took our house back. Right? Took God's house back. We made it clear this is the inner space, and that's off limits to your stuff, your street culture. Even the best stuff they have, that's all called pretty. That is on the outside and belongs on the outside. Not invade our inner space. And that's the secret, the significance behind that our sages instituted. That when they sealed up those breaches, they instituted a law. Anyone who stands, you know, in front of one of those places that used to be breached should bow down. Bow. Right? To show that they broke, it's an opposite statement. They broke in to say that our sciences and culture could take the place of religion. Look, take the place of religion, take the place of the Torah. And he broke in, right? You know the so the we show that you have to bow. Bow is that the thing collapses on itself. So not only is there happened to be a wall there that was restored, it's not just that by happenstance you can't go because there's a wall. No, you bow to show that this way of life on the outside collapses on itself, doesn't apply in the inner space. Okay? And that's the statement we make. So by reinstating the house, it's house oriented, getting straight that we have inner space, that the Jewish religion, the Torah, is the beauty of inner space, and everything that they have is on outer space and belongs on the outside. Should there be a certain, you know, interface and influence? Yes, but only one way. The inner should influence the outer. The name should influence the beauty. The name that's the essence should influence the beauty, right? Not vice versa. The beauty should not set the agenda for the inner essence. The inner essence should set the agenda for the beauty. That's why the Chanukah candles is at the doorway. It's associated with the house, shining out. Continue that. No, we have to first and foremost reinstate the house, take the house back, right? Take the house back, and get clear the boundaries between inner space and outer space, right? And also light the Hanukkah candles with beauty, the inner light, and that light shines out. Right, that influence should only go one direction. The outside stays on the outside. The inside stays on the inside. We don't confuse the two, right? But yes, there should be influence, but the influence should be in one direction, from inside out. The essence and the world of ideas and morality, the divine wisdom that's not physically visible, right? That divine wisdom should influence the outer world and not vice versa. So get the boundary straight and let the light from the inside shine out and influence the outside. That's why it's house oriented. Now, what it has to do in our day and age is we got to take the house back in 2020. The Democrats, the leftists, they breached the house. They got the house in 2018. And whoever voted them in, I hope realizes they did a terrible mistake. Terrible mistake. They are the Hellenists of the day. And sorry, all those Jewish names are the Jewish Hellenists of the day. That sadly we had to fight them back in those days. It wasn't just a war against Greece; it was a civil war because they had a lot of Greek sympathizers. Jewish that sympathized with the Greek Hellenist Jews, Mityavnim. Right, so they took the house in 2018. That's like literally, because they're coming not to, causing. First of all, they are just trying to cause harm to probably the greatest president this country ever had. He has done so much good in such little time. Right, so but aside from that, they want to rip down, the morals of this great country that's based on, the Jewish values of the Bible. Right? They just want to rip it down. They want to, and they're not even for the sake of giving you a better physical life. Right? They want to bring socialism, but it's not the socialism that's horrible. Horrible, but worse than the socialism is the what they call social justice that they made up, and that should replace the Bible and the biblical values of the Jewish people, and which the Jewish people taught to the rest of the world, and particularly to the American people. It's the beauty of the founding fathers, who were deeply religious people, very connected to the Bible, and even connected to the Talmud. They had tremendous reverence for it. They not only studied Hebrew, they actually studied Aramaic also. We have to, just like in those days, we took God's house back, make sure as a continuation of the Hanukkah Wars 2019, the cultural war that has not stopped, will not stop till Mashiach comes. So as next Hanukkah Wars 2019, is to pray to Hashem and prepare ourselves for the battle that we take back the House of Representatives in 2020. Amen. Just stay tuned. I just want to type over here that 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, there'll be a presentation of personal experiences of divine providence. Right? 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 So 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, experience of divine providence. That'll be our presentation tonight at 8 p.m. Catch it. If you observe the prohibition of learning Torah, those that don't believe in it. But if you are from those that have the custom not to learn Torah on Nittelnach, that's what this night is, right? The 24th of December, I don't think this would be a contradiction to your personal custom, because it doesn't mean that it has to be a total spiritual wasteland. You could hear inspiring stories. I think the custom was just, whatever reason, we'll discuss this tonight, whatever reason the custom may have happened and developed, but I think the custom was just not to go out to a base medrash and to learn Torah per se from Torah books. But if you're in your own home, that's already some customs say it's just a matter of learning in your house, and even according to other customs to refrain from any Torah learning. That's only from learning directly Torah text. But if we share stories of divine providence that will strengthen our faith and give inspiration, I don't think there's any prohibition to that. So please join us at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. All right, thanks everyone. We're going to light Hanukkah candles now. See you all at 8 p.m.